Shane.
And this is our February theme video.
Welcome to our theme video. What fun!
Woohoo! So we've got, this is a video where we pick a theme that goes with the month, right?
Yep.
Fits the month we're in, and then suggest a series of games that help celebrate that theme.
So if you were to do a game day, say, around that theme, these would be games that you could pick.
Yeah. So, want to lead us off?
We started out with, of course, the early February starts with our Groundhog looking at their shadow and then complaining because they said it's 6 more weeks of winter. So, Groundhog Day. And the thing about Groundhog Day is it's like the whole thing about a loop, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, the movie, of course, played up
Right.
on it, the same thing over and over again. But that's also how it feels here in Western Pennsylvania when the groundhog sees or doesn't see a shadow, whichever it is that indicates 6 more weeks of winter. So that's what we did, is we picked some games that are very formulaic, that it's sort of the same thing over and over again. So what makes them fun isn't like a sandbox game where you can do a million different things. The strategy and the fun lies elsewhere. So our first game, go ahead,
is Alhambra. We're actually playing through the Mega Box right now, but Alhambra,
at the base game.
the base game, every round, you're grabbing money, buying a building, and that's it.
And that's it. That's all you can do. 2 things. Buy a building.
One or the other, or both if you're lucky. You can buy for exact change. It's so repetitive, and I enjoy it tremendously.
Yeah, it's so much fun. That's not where the fun lies in it. The fun lies in the making your Alhambra. But yeah, it at its heart, if you describe this to somebody, wash, rinse, repeat.
Yep.
Take money, buy a building. Take money, buy a building.
Over and over.
Yep. Well, our second game is St. Petersburg.
Yep.
And again, it's the same thing. There's 4 rounds. There's the worker phase, the building phase, the noble phase, and then the trading phase. And you're either buying workers, buying buildings, buying nobles, or buying whatever random assortment are out there. And that's it. That's the whole game. Buy and put. Buy and place. That's it.
Over and over.
Over and over. Of course, the fun lies in strategy and picking what you're going to buy and saving your money to buy a noble, or, you know, putting things in your hand. I love this game a lot.
It's addictive.
It is super addictive. But again, very formulaic at its sort of face value.
Yep. And we were talking about how most of your trick-taking games are like this. They're very repetitive. So we suggested Hearts. Hearts is a trick-taking game, and you're basically doing the same thing over and over. Winning tricks, trying not to win tricks, depending on what you're trying to do. But you're always just doing the same thing over and over. Play a card, play a card, play a card. Very repetitive. Really fun, though.
And Hearts, of course, is very thematic for Valentine's Day month. Yep. Even though this is part of our Groundhog Days theme, you know, any of those trick-taking games, again, that's not where the strategy lies. That's not where the fun lies. It's put a card down, win or don't win. All right, next up is Azul. You know, this is a really classic game about building the tile wall in Portugal. And every turn you either take, you know, every turn you take tiles from the center, and that's it. And then put them on your wall. You're trying, of course, to get, build patterns within your wall, get like up and downs, and get the most of, not most of any one color. Yeah, get 5 of one, all 5 of one color, but it's very much the same formula over and over. Now, some of the other Azuls shake it up, but the base Azul is just very much formulaic.
Fun.
And again, it's in like deciding which tiles to take and what you're going to pursue as your strategy.
Another really formulaic game, repetitive game is Splendor. Now, I really enjoy Splendor, actually. And it's just like you're just collecting stones or using stones to buy a card. Collecting stones or using stones to buy a card. Over and over and over again. But it's strategic. It's fun. It's just repetitive.
Yeah, and I think what's neat about these games is you know exactly what you're going to do on your turn. That's not what you're thinking about. What you're thinking about is the strategy about how you're going to use what you pick up. And so it's not that they're not thinky. It's that you don't even have to think about what your next move is going to be. A lot of times with some of these games where you could do 27 different things, that's where a lot of analysis paralysis comes in, where you're stuck like, oh, should I go there? Should I go there? No, you're just picking something up. You got no choice. You're just going to pick up those tiles. It's in the laying of the tiles and in the choosing which color and when and whatnot that the strategy lies.
Absolutely.
All right. Our next theme is very appropriate, obviously, for February, because we're doing a February theme game. Just ignore me.
It's Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day. So we went with a bunch of different ways to interpret this. So you could do, we thought about doing all co-ops, we thought about doing all 2-player games or like themed, but we kind of mixed it up.
Yep. So we started with Patchwork, which is a really popular 2-player game. And there's, I believe, a Valentine's version, and you know, perfect. You know, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It is kind of I don't know if it's aggressive player on player. Not really. A little bit, sort of, but not really. So it's a good game you can play with your partner if you know, and enjoy the time together.
Yeah. Second is Decorum. Now this is a game that we don't love. It didn't jive with us.
We didn't find it very challenging for us.
Yeah, I don't know why. We were like, obvious. Like, I know what you're trying to tell me. We're good.
Yeah,
right?
we did really well with it.
Yeah, we just synced. We're like, this is so easy. Maybe we should have played more games than we did, and maybe it would have gotten harder, but it didn't. But everybody else loves this game. Nobody hates this game. And we don't hate it. It just wasn't great for us.
Yeah.
But it's perfect because it's about moving in together and furnishing an apartment, right? And it's co-op, and it's you can play it 2 players. So it's a perfect Valentine's Day game to play with your sweetie or whoever your Valentine's is, unless your Valentine's your cat, and then you're kind of out of luck because I don't think you can solo this. And that's Decorum.
And who doesn't love a love letter? So love letters. Love letter is a nice little game with heart pieces, and it's a little card game, and you're just trying to outcompete other players to win the game, get the most points.
Yeah. It can be played at 2, and of course it's about love.
Yeah.
Although it's not a very friendly game, so
not totally, no.
Whatever. Next is the big chunky. So we've started out with some light games, some cooperative games. This is the more chunky game, and this is Pursuit of Happiness. And so you can, you know, marry somebody else on Valentine's Day. You can get a divorce.
You can get married in the game in case that's not obvious.
Yeah. You know, but you're pursuing happiness. And what else is Valentine's Day for but pursuing happiness?
Yep. And the last game we picked is a co-op game. So co-op games are a really fun way to spend your time with your partner. And we went with The Crew. We love The Crew. The Crew is so much fun. You're trying to do trick taking to defeat certain goals. And it's just really fun.
Yeah, and this is, if we just did our top 60 to 51 games, and one thing we talked about is how some of those like cooperative games where you don't have that where you're not talking to each other, you have limited communication, have some of those best moments where you like are in sync, where you kind of figure each other out, you play it perfectly, and you're like, yes, we won that round. And so that's a great way to enjoy Valentine's Day game. Valentine's Day with some games is playing a cooperative trick-taking game.
So that is our Valentine's Day games for that theme. Next up, our next theme is, you know, the thing about February is it's such a small month. It's short. It's less days than other months. So it's kind of small, right? So we thought a good month to play small box games.
Thank you, Jimmy, for the suggestion.
Yeah. And I should mention Susan from Tea and Games suggested the Groundhog Day one.
All right.
And Valentine's Day, I think, now that I think about it.
Oh, well, do all the work for us. What should we do for March? So yeah, so these are small box games, all that pack a lot of fun in them, because you do not have to have a big box to have big fun. And we're going to start out with one of my favorite small box games. We played this a ton when we first got it. We haven't played it in a while, but and that's Scout.
Yep.
I think Scout is so
really fun.
clever. It's so fun and it's so clever. The fact that you can't rearrange your hand of cards is always a challenge. Like the first time you get that out after a while not playing it, the temptation to arrange the cards in your hands is strong. But I love this trick-taking game where, like I said, you can't rearrange the cards in your hands. You've got to beat what the person played with the cards in the order that they're in. So there's some strategery around taking out like a bad card that's between two cards that make a high pair or something.
Yeah. Scout is excellent. Next up on our list is a really great roll and write game, or flip and write game, I should say, and that is Silver and Gold. Silver and Gold, you get to actually draw on the cards themselves, and you're trying to draw different polyomino shapes that come up on the cards that are flipped over, and fill up the cards as quickly as possible. And then get new cards and get more points and get more points and get more points. And it's a really quick played game, a really fun game. Really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one. It's like popcorn, you know, we could just play it over and over again, eat it over and over again. It's addictive. And the size of the box and even the length of the game does not mitigate how much fun this is and how much we want to keep playing it. All right, next up is Builders of Antiquity. This is an interesting one. I don't know where we got this. Was it Kickstarted or?
I think it might have been one of the bento boxes.
Oh yeah, we had this for years, and we were like, oh well, let's play this and see if we want to keep it this year. And if it was a bento box, I've had it for a decade. It's fantastic.
It's really good, yeah.
It's real. It does so much with the cards. For a game with, again, limited components and just cards. Very clever card use where the cards are workers with, you know, skills like brings water, I don't know, carries sand, whatever. And then buildings, and you need to have the right workers with the right resources matched to it. But just so much game in that such a little box. And it's on BGA now.
Yep. It's a good one. Next up is Oh My Goods, which I don't remember at all.
I do. Vaguely.
So you can talk about Oh My Goods.
Well, the reason I picked Oh My Goods is it's like a
we
small...
picked it, but I don't remember how to play.
The reason I suggested it is that it's a small box. It's like the size of a card, like a pack of cards, right? But it plays like a long, complex worker placement game. There's no board, but the cards themselves are multi-use. So they can be workers, they can be a building, they can be resources, depending on how you want to use them. And it is not a short game. I think it takes like 45 minutes to an hour to play. But it has the feel and satisfaction of a big old worker placement game, but again, in a tiny, tiny box. So if you're traveling, if you don't have a lot of space, this game, I think, has the most gameplay per like square inch of box of any game out there. It is the quintessential big game in a small box.
Yep. And finally, another great game, any game from Button Shy really, is Sprawlopolis. Sprawlopolis is a great little card laying game where you're trying to build out your metropolis and get as many points as possible by getting contiguous groups of the same kind of building, but also meeting certain scoring conditions that are laid out for you. So really fun game. You get so much out of this game. It's really fun.
This is another one that 18 cards, you wouldn't think it could be so interesting because the back of the cards have scoring conditions. So it's really variable depending on which scoring conditions you pull out.
All right.
All right.
So that's our 3 themes for February. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let us know what ideas you have for March, please. You know, what did you think about the February themes? What games would you suggest for any of these themes?
All right. Remember,
every day of the game
is a holiday.
All right. Bye, everyone.